I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. Except my faith. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Without consistency, you'll never finish. Fall forward. So this is what I mean. Feel passionate about. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. You had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before. But I want to talk to you about why that's so important. I got 3 reasons, and first, Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. Baseball. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. And I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, 1,000 failed experiments. Embrace it because it's inevitable. And I should know 1,001st. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. Except for the fact that I can't sing. Take risks. So, and I'm sure you probably heard that. I'm in the wings. I'm about to go on stage. About why that's but the guy in front of me, he's singing like Pavarotti, and I'm just shrinking. I'm getting smaller and smaller. You will fail at some point in your life. I come out with my little sheet music, and it was you will embarrass just my imagination by the Temptations. That's what I came up with. There's no doubt about it. I handed to the and I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, looks out at the director and it's like, embrace it because it's inevitable. So I start, I'm gonna sing. I'm like, and then not saying anything. So I'm thinking all the time. Early on in my career, I start getting into it. Thank you very much, Mr. Washington. Thank you. Except for the fact. So I assumed I didn't get the job. But the next part of the audition, he called me back. The next part of the audition is the acting part of the audition. No, I'm like, hey, okay, maybe I can't sing, but I know I can act. So they pair me with this guy, and again, I didn't know about musical theater. I didn't fall back. And musical theater is big, so they can reach everyone all the way in the back. And I'm more from the next realistic, naturalistic kind of acting where you actually talk to the person next to you. So I don't know what my line was. My line was, well, hand me the cup. But I continued to fail. And his line was, well, I will hand you the cup, my dear. The cup will be there to be handed to you. An old saying. You hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get Well, should I give you the cup back? Oh, yes, you should give it back to me because you know that is my cup and it should be given back to me. I did a play called Fences on Broadway. But I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. It was at the Court Theater. I didn't quit. It was at the same theater. I didn't fall back. I failed that first audition. 30 years I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition and the next audition. The point is, and the next graduate here today has the training and the talent to succeed. But do you have the guts to fail? I continued to fail and fail and fail. But it didn't matter because you know what? You're not even trying. You hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. So you will catch a break. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. I did a play called Fences on Broadway. Imagine you're on your deathbed. Won the Tony Award. And standing around your deathbed, and I didn't have to sing, by the way. Representing your unfulfilled potential. But here's the kicker. It was at the ghost theater. Of the ideas you never acted on. It was at the same theater. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. That first audition 30 years prior. And they're standing around your bed. The point is, every graduate here today has the training and the talent to succeed. But do you have the guts to fail? Here's my second point about failure. We came to you. If you don't fail, you could have brought us to life. You're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. And to get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. So I ask you today, Les Brown's a motivational speaker. How many ghosts are going to be around your bed? He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, beautiful country, angry, disappointed, but there are places there with terrible poverty. They say we came to you because you could have brought us to life. The tip of the iceberg. And now the Middle East needs your help. Japan needs your help. So I ask you today, Alabama needs your help. Tennessee needs your help. How many ghosts are going to be around your bed? Philadelphia needs your help. You've invested a lot in your education, and people have invested in you. And let me tell you, the world needs your talent. We really do. We need it from you young people. I just got back from South Africa. It's a beautiful country. I know I'm getting a little. But there are places there with terrible poverty that need help. We need it from you, the young people. And Africa's just remember the tip of the iceberg. The Middle East needs your help. Japan needs your help. Alabama needs your help. Tennessee needs your help. Louisiana needs your help. Philadelphia needs your help. The world needs a lot. We need it from you, the young people. So you got to get out there. What are you going to do with what you have? You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time. Some of you are business majors. Some of you are theologians, nurses, sociologists. Some of you have money. Treasures. Some of you have patience. Because remember this. Some of you have kindness. Some of you never see a U-Haul. Some of you have the gift behind a hearse. Of long suffering. Whatever it is. Whatever your gift is. You can't take it with you. What are you going to do? The Egyptians tried it with what you have. And all they got was raw. Right, now, here's my last point about that. So the question is, what are you going to do with what you have? I'm not talking about how much you have. Some of you are business majors. Some of you are theologians, nurses, sociologists. Some of you have money. Some of you have patience. Some of you have kindness. Some of you have love. Some of you have the gift of long suffering. Whatever it is, whatever your gift is. What are you going to do? So then I decided to go into pre-law, then journalism. And with no academic focus, my grades took off in their own direction. Sometimes it's the best way I was a 1.8 GPA. Your life will never be a straight path. Very politely I began at Fordham University as a pre-med student. I took a course called I was 20 years old. Morphogenesis. I couldn't read it, I couldn't say it, I sure couldn't pass it. And then one day, so then I decided to go into pre-law, March 27, then journalism. 1975. And with no academic focus, my grades took off in their own direction. Beauty shop up in Mount Vernon. And there was this old 1.8 GPA one semester, and the university very politely suggested that it might be better to take some time off. And every time I looked in the mirror, I could see her behind me. I was 20 years old, staring at me. I was at my lowest point. She just kept looking at me. And then one day, and I remember the exact day, March 27, 1975, I was helping my mother in her beauty shop. My mother owned a beauty shop up in Mount Vernon. She said, "Young boy, there was this older woman who was considered one of the elders in the town." And I didn't know her personally, but I was looking in the mirror, and every time I looked in the mirror, I could see her behind me, and she was staring at me. She just kept looking at me. Every time I looked at her, she kept giving me these strange looks. Just as that woman prophesied. So she finally took the dryer off her head and said, she said something I'll never forget. My movies. First of all, she said, "Somebody give me a piece of paper. Give me a piece of paper." Couldn't see me. She said, "Young boy, I have a prophecy, a spiritual prophecy." She said, "You are going to travel the world and speak to millions of people." Like a wise ass, I'm thinking to myself, maybe she's got something in that crystal ball today about me getting back into school next fall. But maybe she was on to something, because later that summer, while working as a counselor at the YMCA camp in Connecticut, we put on a talent show for the campus. And after the show, another counselor came up to me and asked, "Have you ever thought about acting? You're going for a job." When I got back to Fordham that fall, I got in and I changed my major once again for the last time. And in the years that followed, just as that woman prophesied, I have traveled the world, and I have spoken to millions of people through my movies. The people you meet, millions who up till this day, I couldn't see that you had while I was talking to them. That's what's going on. But I see you today, and I'm encouraged by what I see. Never be discouraged. I'm strengthened by what I see. Never and I love what I see. Give everything you got. With this one final point. Many years ago, I did this movie called Philadelphia. Remember this. We filmed some of the scenes right here on campus. Forward. Philadelphia came out in 1993. It's about a man played by Tom Hanks who's fired from his law firm because he has AIDS. He wants to sue the firm, but no one's willing to represent him until a home